Starting here at Victoria Station today. We're going to do about a mile of walking and we're going to explore the story that probably not a lot of people know, and it's a story that I only learned about fairly recently. We're going to take a walk down to Angel Meadow, which is a public park in Manchester that just so happens to be built on a burial ground of 40,000 people. Now, to understand the circumstances or the environment that produced circumstances for the slum to exist and for these people to end up in a burial ground, we need to walk over to the streets that were once the industrial hub of the world, the engine room of the world, if you like, of 19th century industrial Manchester, or Cottonopolis it was called. But before we go there, I just want to show you something that's just down here, just literally across the road or next door to Victoria Station. We have a medieval library. So down here we have Chetham's library in 1643, I think it was erected. It was in the 1600s anyway. In the 1840s, two young men would come here, debate, think, read, and those two people you may have heard of, they were Friedrich Engels and Karl Marx. But some people say actually Friedrich Engels and Marx met here for the very first time. And those people also say that Marxism was born in Manchester. I don't know, what do you think? It's no doubt though, what happened here in Manchester was certainly very important, but maybe saying Marxism was born in Manchester might just be a little bit too simplistic. So Friedrich Engels, he was sent over here to run his family's mill, and the idea was he would come over, run the mill, make loads of money. But I don't think his family really bargained for what else he would see or what else he would learn while he was over here. So the actual mill Engels worked at is now flattened, basically, it no longer stands. But what we're going to do, we're going to head over to the northern quarter and we'll find some buildings there that'll give us a feel for what Manchester was like back in them days. So if you come with me, we'll head over to the northern quarter. If you walk around the streets in the northern quarter, you'll get a sense of what industrial Manchester would have looked like. You've got the warehouses, the sheer scale of it, the weight of the brick. The city was being built at incredible speed. It was powered by coal, cotton, and a belief that wealth, if you could generate enough of it, would sort everything else out. Now Engels was part of that world. He was running a mill, pretty good at it, making lots of money. But what happened with Engels is he started noticing things that the other mill owners didn't notice. You see, Engels fell in love. He met a lady called Mary Burns, who was an Irish immigrant, and she was working in the factories that one of the factories that Engels was running. And what she did, well, she knew Manchester from obviously a totally different way to what a mill owner's son would know it. So she took him round the cellars and the back alleys and showed Engels a side of Manchester that somebody like him wouldn't have otherwise ever seen. And what Engels saw there changed his life forever. So what we'll do now is we'll head up to a part of, well, a section of the city that was featured in Engels' 1845 book, The Condition of the Working Class. So across the road here on Swan Street, we've got the Mackie Mare. That used to be the Smithfield market. It's the only bit of the old Smithfield market that still survives today. It's like a food hall. You can go in there and get some food and drink. But this would have been where all the traders would have sold the cotton. As you can see, as we're heading down, there's lots of throwbacks to Angel Meadow. You've got the Angel Pub, and you've also got this is called Angel Street. So yeah, as we're just heading into where Angel Meadow is now, the entrance to it. Angel Meadow sounds very peaceful, doesn't it? But back then it would have been far from peaceful. It was actually originally quite a sought after area. However, as the explosion of the industry in Manchester took off and there was a shortage of housing, this became quickly overcrowded and turned into a slum. And today, as you can see, Angel Meadow's a fairly ordinary urban park. There's grass, there's paths, there's people walking through it. But let me tell you about the place it was. In the 1840s, Engels was walking these streets with Mary Burns. Angel Meadow was one of the most overcrowded and desperate neighbourhoods in Britain. It started out as a reasonably affluent area, like I said, but with the population exploding and the industrial growth, it became like a human overflow, basically. And a huge part of that overflow was the Irish. So in the 1840s, lots of people fled the Great Famine in Ireland, and a lot of them came over to here, to Angel Meadow, or to Manchester, because property was cheap, there was work available, and frankly because they had no other options. So a neighbourhood that was already overcrowded became quickly undescribable. Full families sharing single rooms, often even in cellars with no light. So cholera, typhus, tuberculosis all became everyday part of life here at Angel Meadows. And at one point, only half of the children that were born here survived till the age of 5. Just half. And underneath where I'm standing right now is the burial ground of over 40,000 people. Some of them children who didn't survive till the age of 5 were thrown in here. And actually I'm stood right now on some gravestones. These would have been the more fortunate people, the people who deserved a stone in them days. But I find it remarkable that they've got them here in Angel Meadow Park, apart from the site of the old church, probably just as a reminder to the history of the place. So this is one of the places mentioned in Engels' book, The Condition of the Working Class in England, that was released in 1845. And you have to give a shout really as well to Mary Burns, because without her I don't think he'd have seen any of this, and Marx would have never read his book, and he and Marx would not have gone and worked together for as long as they did. So maybe earlier I poo-pooed the idea or played down the idea of Marxism being born in Manchester, but when you think of what happened in places like Angel Meadow and what Engels learnt here and what he passed on to Marx, I mean, it's hard to argue against it. So today Angel Meadow is pretty quiet. There's squirrels walking around there. There's some pretty smart apartments going up on the side, but history doesn't go anywhere, and the 40,000 bodies buried underneath here aren't gonna go anywhere either. Manchester's wealth was extraordinary. These were the neighbourhoods, the actual neighbourhoods of the people who built the wealth in this city. Now, if you've got this far, I'll thank you for watching. Had you heard the story of Angel Meadow before? Is there anything you'd like to add to this story? Something I've missed? Something I've got wrong? Are there any other stories dotting around the country, especially in Manchester, that it might be worth a visit? Well, hopefully you like this. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, it gives me a like, and I'd like to hear your comments and constructive criticism on it. Until next time, I'll see you then.